We owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to the people who came before us and the students who will come after us, and not just Black students, not just African American students, all students, to acknowledge this part of our history so we can move forward and be a truly social justice oriented campus. My name is Danielle Williams. I am a sophomore from Waldorf, Maryland. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm a psychology major with minors in Spanish and education. As an African American student at Goucher, hearing about the Hallowed Ground Project, it's kind of like a reality check, knowing that, you know, even if you make it to like a small white, predominantly white liberal arts college, like you can't escape that history. Nowhere that you go, you can't escape the history of your ancestors being enslaved and like you having a foot down in life. Sometimes I have to take the time to recognize that if this was in a completely different context years ago, I would not be here as a student. I'll say it that way. I would not be here as a student.
Goucher has taken a new initiative along with some other colleges in the area to uncover the history of slavery on the land they reside and benefit from. This stems from earlier projects that never really took off. On Wednesday, October 18th, new Goucher College President Kent Devereaux released an email that many were delighted to read and some were troubled by.
It's like, oh, we never owned slaves.
I was reading this, I was thinking about committed to equal education to all, but the fact remains that our first Black student, Jewel Robinson, didn't attend a college until the 50s.
One thing I noticed very quickly my first year was the place was a lot of talk, and I think one thing that I was hoping to see my first year was more action from everyone. Like, literally, I wanted to see everyone do more.
John Goucher never owned slaves, but he made Morgan, right? But now we know Morgan to be an HBCU, but Morgan wasn't always an HBCU. So that basically negates his whole purpose for saying he created Morgan.
Our new president, Kent Devereaux, he really was like, hey, so this is what we're doing. And then the bolding was it really threw me off. I've never, Goucher never owned slaves. John Goucher, helped found Morgan. Are these the things that we actually should be bolding? Do you find that that's appropriate? There are so many levels to it that I was like, this is odd. The deed. I have a lot of feelings about it. I mean, this changed in 2019. I'm sure this is not the first time it came up. It better not have been the first time it came up, because we have had Black students since the 50s. The world is not conducive for Black people. The way it is now, it's just not. We're in danger. We're seen as nuisances. Knowing that I applied to a school that literally the founding deed of the land that we're on is saying that I can't be here unless I'm a servant of some type. Extreme. I didn't even know that it said that until one of my advisors had that as her email signature. And it was one of the most impactful. It would take me aback. And I remember once I talked to her about it and she was like, I do that for a reason. Just so this is known that this is a space that we're navigating. I love Goucher and I want it to become better, and that's why I speak out. And to know that this place that I love is based on the fact that I shouldn't be here and that people like me couldn't be here or shouldn't be here. It's disheartening. It's disheartening. The Hallowed Ground Project that name is so significant to me. Growing up, I was raised as Seventh-day Adventist. in a black household. A lot of black religion stems directly from slavery and the slave trade and how we praise and how we worship. And that hallowed ground really reminds me of like scriptures. A lot of black people have identified with the land of milk and honey, and that suffering don't last always, and you'll reach that hallowed ground, and it has a lot of significance, it has a lot of punch. Just reminds me of old school black Christianity, and it's interesting. I just need black voices to be centered. I need black voices to be heard. There are actual people like me, like the person recording this, who are actively impacted by this. So if you're gonna do it, take the time to listen to us. Take the time to hear us, because we make noise regardless, but you need to hear us, because that's who it impacts at the end of the day.